Emma?
What are you doing home?
I was standing in my kitchen at 2 in the morning, staring at my phone like it was a weapon. The text was still glowing on the screen. Your husband tastes like whiskey and regret. It came from Diana, my mom's best friend, the woman who held me when my dad left, who taught me how to do my wedding makeup, who I called when I found out I was pregnant, the same woman who was supposed to be at a hotel across town for a work conference. But the photo attached to her message told a different story. It was taken in my living room. I recognized the gray couch we'd bought last year, the throw pillows I'd embroidered myself, and there was my husband, Ryan, shirtless, laughing at something off camera. The timestamp said 11:47 p.m., 3 hours ago, while I was at the hospital with my mom, holding her hand through another round of chemo. My hands were shaking so hard, I almost dropped the phone. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw up. I wanted to burn the entire house down. But instead, I did something else. I smiled because Diana had no idea who she was really messing with. Before I tell you what happened next, make sure you're sitting down, because this gets so much worse than you think. Let me take you back 6 months. That's when Diana moved back to town after her divorce. She showed up at our door with 2 suitcases, mascara streaked down her face, and a bottle of wine in each hand. "I have nowhere else to go," she'd said. My mom didn't hesitate. She pulled Diana into a hug and told her she could stay as long as she needed. That's who my mom was, too kind, too trusting. And I was just like her. Diana had been part of my life since I was 7 years old. She was at every birthday party, every graduation, every major moment. When I got engaged to Ryan, she cried harder than my own mother. "You deserve this," she'd whispered to me at the reception. "You deserve everything good in this world." I believed her. God, I was so stupid. After she moved back, Diana became a constant presence in our lives again. She'd come over for dinner twice a week. She'd bring wine and gossip and stories about her terrible ex-husband. Ryan seemed to enjoy her company. He'd laugh at her jokes, pour her drinks, ask about her day. I thought it was sweet. I thought he was being kind to someone I loved. I didn't notice the way she'd touch his arm when she laughed. I didn't notice how she always seemed to sit just a little too close to him on the couch. I didn't notice that she started dressing differently when she knew he'd be home. Because why would I? This was Diana, my mom's best friend, practically family. The affair probably started 2 months ago. I can pinpoint it now, looking back with clear eyes. It was the night of my mom's diagnosis. Stage 3 breast cancer. Aggressive. The kind of words that make your whole world tilt sideways. I came home that night and collapsed into Ryan's arms. Diana was there too. She'd insisted on coming to the hospital with us. She held my mom's other hand while the doctor explained treatment options and survival rates. She cried with us, promised she'd be there every step of the way. And she was. Every chemo appointment, every late night phone call when my mom couldn't sleep, every moment I needed her. But apparently, she was also there for my husband, in my bed in my house, in my life. The night I got that text, I'd been at the hospital for 9 hours. Mom had a bad reaction to her latest round of chemo. They had to keep her overnight for observation. I texted Ryan around 8 p.m., going to be late. Mom's not doing well. Don't wait up. He'd responded immediately. Take all the time you need. I love you. 3 hours later, he was half naked in our living room with Diana. I drove home in complete silence. No music, no crying, no screaming. Just cold, calculated silence. By the time I pulled into our driveway, it was almost 3 a.m. Ryan's car was there. Diana's car wasn't. She must have parked down the street. Smart, careful, calculated. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, watching our bedroom window. The lights were off. I wondered if they were in there together. If she was wearing one of my nightgowns. If they were tangled up in sheets I'd washed just yesterday. My phone buzzed. Another text from Diana. No response. Come on, Emma. I thought you'd at least have the spine to confront me. That's when I realized something. She wanted me to know. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a drunk accident that she immediately regretted. She sent me that text on purpose. She wanted to hurt me. She wanted me to come home and find them together. This was a game to her, and I was about to show her I knew how to play. I got out of my car and walked calmly to the front door. I unlocked it as quietly as possible and stepped inside. The house was dark, except for a dim light coming from the kitchen. I could hear movement upstairs, footsteps, a door closing. I walked into the kitchen and found exactly what I expected. 2 wine glasses on the counter, both half empty. A woman's cardigan draped over one of my chairs. Navy blue, Diana's favorite color. Her perfume still hung in the air. That expensive French brand she always wore. I picked up one of the wine glasses and examined it in the dim light. Lipstick stain on the rim, dark red, not my shade. I was setting it back down when I heard Ryan's voice behind me. Emma, what are you doing home? I turned around slowly. He was standing at the bottom of the stairs, wearing sweatpants and nothing else. His hair was messy. His lips were slightly swollen. He looked guilty and terrified, and exactly like what he was, a cheating husband who'd just been caught. Mom's stable, I said calmly. They gave her something to help her sleep. I thought I'd come home and get some rest. Oh, that's good. He couldn't look me in the eye. Did you have company tonight? I asked, gesturing to the wine glasses. What? No, I mean I had a drink. Just one. Couldn't sleep. 2 glasses, Ryan. He followed my gaze, and his face went pale. Diana stopped by earlier. She was upset about something. We just talked for a bit, and then she left. What time did she leave? I don't know, maybe 10:30. The photo was time-stamped at 11:47 p.m. I pulled out my phone and held it up so he could see the screen. His face went from pale to gray. Emma, I can explain. Don't. My voice came out harder than I expected. Don't you dare try to explain this to me right now. It's not what it looks like. My husband, shirtless, in our living room, at midnight, with my mother's dying best friend, while I was at the hospital. What exactly does it look like, Ryan? He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Where is she? I asked. Who? Don't play stupid. Where is Diana? She's not here. Her car is parked 2 blocks away. Her cardigan is on my chair. Her lipstick is on that glass. Try again. Ryan's jaw tightened. For a moment, I thought he might actually confess. Might actually tell me the truth and beg for forgiveness. Instead, he said, "You're being paranoid. The chemo stuff with your mom, it's making you see things that aren't there." That's when I knew. He wasn't sorry. He wasn't guilty. He was just angry that he got caught. And he was stupid enough to gaslight me about it. "Get out," I said quietly. "Emma, get out of my house. This is my house too." "Not anymore, it isn't. Get out, or I call the police and show them this photo. And tell them you've been having an affair with a woman who has keys to our home while I've been caring for my dying mother." He stared at me for a long moment. Then he grabbed his phone from the kitchen counter and stormed toward the stairs. "I'm getting my things. You have 10 minutes. I stood in that kitchen, listening to him move around upstairs, and I felt something I hadn't expected. Relief, not because it was over, not because I'd caught him, but because now I knew exactly who I was dealing with. Ryan came back downstairs 12 minutes later with a duffel bag and his laptop. He didn't look at me as he headed for the door, but before he left, he turned around and said, "You're making a huge mistake. We can work through this. The only mistake I made was marrying you." He flinched like I'd slapped him. Good. The door slammed behind him, and I was finally alone. I walked upstairs to our bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed. My phone buzzed again. "Diana, so, did you find him? Did you see the look on his face?" I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed back, "You have no idea what you just started." Her response came immediately. "Bring it on, sweetheart." I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat on my bedroom floor with my laptop and started digging. If Diana wanted to play games, I needed to know exactly who I was playing against. I started with her social media. Nothing suspicious there, just the usual divorced woman trying to look happy. Pictures of wine glasses and sunsets. Inspirational quotes about new beginnings. But then I went deeper. I logged into Ryan's laptop. He'd never changed the password and found his email. And that's when everything clicked into place. The affair didn't start 2 months ago. It started 6 months ago, the day Diana moved back to town. There were dozens of emails between them. Hundreds of texts he'd deleted from his phone, but backed up to his cloud. "I can't stop thinking about you. Tonight was incredible. Your wife doesn't need to know." I read every single one. Some of them were from when I was at work. Others were from when I was literally in the next room. One was sent while I was in the shower before our anniversary dinner. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Wear that black dress I like." I checked the date. That was the week Diana came over for dinner and wore a tight black dress that Ryan couldn't stop complimenting. I thought he was being nice, making her feel good after her divorce. I was so blind, it's almost funny. But the worst part, the part that made me want to throw his laptop out the window, was the way they talked about me. Emma's at the hospital again. Perfect, come over. She's so exhausted lately, she falls asleep by 9. We have all night. They weren't just having an affair. They were planning around my pain, using my mother's cancer as an opportunity to be together. I slammed the laptop shut before I could read more. My hands were shaking again, but this time it wasn't from shock. It was from rage. Pure, white-hot rage. I looked at the clock. 6:47 a.m. My mom would be awake soon. I needed to get back to the hospital. But first, I needed to deal with Diana. I pulled up her number and typed, "We need to talk. Coffee at 9. She responded in seconds. "Took you long enough. See you there." I got dressed, grabbed my keys, and headed to the hospital. My mom was sitting up in bed when I arrived, looking pale but alert. "You look terrible," she said immediately. "Thanks, Mom. I'm serious, Emma. Did you sleep at all?" "Not really." She patted the bed next to her, and I sat down carefully. "What's wrong?" For a moment, I almost told her everything. About Ryan, about Diana, about the text and the photo and the months of lies. But then I looked at her, really looked at her. She'd lost so much weight. Her skin was gray. Her eyes were tired. She was fighting for her life. And I was about to tell her that her best friend was sleeping with her daughter's husband. I couldn't do it, not yet. "Just worried about you," I said instead. She squeezed my hand. "I'm tougher than I look." "I know you are." We sat in silence for a while. The kind of comfortable quiet that only exists between mothers and daughters. Finally, she said, "Diana texted me this morning. She said she's been trying to reach you." My blood went cold. Did she say why? No, just that it was important. She's been so good through all this, hasn't she? I don't know what we'd do without her. I forced myself to smile. Yeah, she's been great. The lie tasted like poison. I left the hospital at 8:30 and drove to the coffee shop where Diana and I had agreed to meet. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table with a latte in front of her. She looked perfect, of course. Hair styled, makeup flawless, designer sunglasses pushed up on her head. She smiled when she saw me. "Emma, you look awful." "Funny, my mom said the same thing." "How is she?" "Don't." Deanna raised an eyebrow. "Don't what?" "Don't pretend you care about my mother. Don't sit there and act concerned when you've been using her cancer as cover to sleep with my husband." She leaned back in her chair and took a slow sip of her latte. "Took you long enough to figure it out." Why what? Why him? Why now? Why me?" Diana set down her cup and looked me straight in the eye. "Because I could." The casual cruelty in her voice was almost impressive. "That's it, because you could. You have everything, Emma. The perfect husband, the perfect house, the perfect life. And you just take it all for granted. My mother is dying, and you're still the golden child. Still the one everyone loves and worries about. Do you know what it's like to stand next to you for 30 years and always be second best?" I stared at her. This is about jealousy. This is about taking what should have been mine. Ryan was never yours. He is now. She said it so confidently, so certain. And that's when I realized she actually believed it. She thought Ryan loved her. She thought this was some great romance, and I was just the obstacle in her way. He's using you, I said quietly. No, you're just angry because you lost. Diana, he told me you were a mistake. He said you meant nothing. That got her attention. Her smile faltered for just a second. You're lying. Am I? Call him. Ask him what he told me last night when I kicked him out. You kicked him out. What did you think I was going to do? Welcome him back with open arms. Diana's jaw tightened. Where is he now? I have no idea. A hotel, probably. Or maybe he's with you. The look on her face told me everything. He hadn't called her, hadn't texted, hadn't shown up at her door. She'd sent me that message, blown up my marriage, and Ryan had just disappeared. He's going to call, she said, but her voice wasn't as confident anymore. Sure he is. Emma, listen. No, you listen. I'm going to give you one chance to walk away from this. One chance to leave town, leave my husband, leave my family alone. Or what? Or I tell my mom everything. Diana's face went pale. You wouldn't. Try me. She's dying, Emma. You'd really do that to her right now. You slept with my husband while she was in chemotherapy. Don't talk to me about what I would or wouldn't do. We sat in silence, staring at each other across the table. Finally, Diana stood up. This isn't over. Yes, it is. She grabbed her purse and walked out without another word. I sat there for a long time after she left, drinking cold coffee and trying to figure out my next move. My phone buzzed, a text from Ryan. Can we talk, please? I deleted it without responding. Then another text came through. This one from a number I didn't recognize. You should know your husband isn't the only one with secrets. Check Diana's phone records from March. You'll want to see who she was calling. A friend. I stared at that message for a full minute. Then I forwarded it to myself and started making phone calls. It took me 3 days and $200 to get Diana's phone records. Turns out, when you know the right people, or in my case, when your college roommate's brother works for a cell phone company, anything is possible. The records arrived in my email on a Thursday morning, while I was sitting in my mom's hospital room. She was asleep, finally resting after another brutal round of treatment. I opened the file on my phone and started scrolling. March, the month Diana moved back to town. The month she showed up at our door with tears in her eyes and nowhere else to go. The month I welcomed her back into our lives with open arms. I scanned through hundreds of calls and texts. Most were to numbers I didn't recognize, but then I saw it, a number that appeared over and over again throughout March and April. Dozens of calls, some lasting an hour or more. I ran the number through a reverse lookup site, Ryan's office line. They'd been talking for months before she even moved back. Before she showed up at our door, desperate and heartbroken. This wasn't an affair that just happened. This was planned. I kept scrolling, my heart pounding harder with each new discovery. February, January, December. The calls went back 6 months before Diana moved to town, before her divorce was even finalized. I checked the dates against my own calendar and felt sick. December 15th, Diana called Ryan for 45 minutes. The same day I told her we were trying for a baby. January 8th, another long call. The night after I sent Diana photos of our newly renovated bedroom. February 3rd, a 2-hour conversation. My birthday. While I was at dinner with friends, Diana was on the phone with my husband. She didn't just steal Ryan, she studied us, planned her attack, waited for the perfect moment to strike. And that moment was my mother's cancer diagnosis. I was so angry, I could barely breathe. My mom stirred in her sleep, and I forced myself to calm down. I couldn't let her see me like this. I stepped out into the hallway and called Ryan. He answered on the second ring. "Emma, thank God, I've been trying to reach you. How long have you been planning this?" Silence. "How long, Ryan? I don't know what you're talking about. I have Diana's phone records. I know you two have been talking since December. I know she didn't just show up at our door by accident." More silence. Then, "Emma, it's not what you think. Did you tell her to come back? Did you ask her to move here?" "No, I swear. She reached out to me after her divorce, and we just talked. That's all it was at first. And then I don't know. It just happened." "Bullshit, you planned this, both of you." "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like, Ryan? Explain it to me. Make me understand how you accidentally had an affair with my mother's dying best friend." He didn't have an answer for that. "I want a divorce," I said quietly. "Emma, please, we can fix this." "No, we can't. I'll have my lawyer contact you next week." I hung up before he could respond. My hands were shaking so badly, I had to lean against the wall. A nurse walked by and asked if I was okay. I nodded and went back into my mom's room. She was awake now, watching me with knowing eyes. "You look like you want to kill someone," she said. "Just frustrated. Hospital stuff." "You're a terrible liar, Emma." I sat down in the chair next to her bed. "Mom, it's Diana, isn't it?" My blood went cold. "What?" "And Ryan, I'm not blind, sweetheart, and I'm not stupid." "Mom, I don't. I saw the way she looked at him at your wedding. I saw the way she talked about him when you weren't around. And when she moved back here," she paused. "I had a feeling. Why didn't you say anything?" "Because I hoped I was wrong. And because you seemed happy. And because," she looked away, "because I'm dying, and I didn't want to spend my last months watching my best friend destroy my daughter's marriage." Tears were streaming down my face now. "I'm sorry. I should have told you. Don't apologize. This isn't your fault. I kicked him out. I'm filing for divorce." "Good. And Diana, I already know what I need to know about Diana." We sat in silence for a moment. Then my mom said, "There's something I need to tell you about her. Something I should have told you a long time ago." "What?" "Diana's marriage didn't end because her husband cheated. It ended because she did. Multiple times. With married men." I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. "What?" "Her ex-husband called me last year, before the divorce was finalized. He wanted me to know the truth because he knew she'd come running to me with some story about being the victim. Why didn't you tell me? Because you loved her, because she was like family, and because I thought, I don't know, I thought maybe she'd changed. Maybe she was trying to be better. She's not better, Mom. She's worse. My mom reached for my hand. I know, and I'm sorry. I should have warned you. It's not your fault. Yes, it is. I brought her into our lives. I trusted her. I made you trust her. Mom, promise me something, Emma. Anything. Don't let her win. Don't let her take anything else from you. Fight back. I squeezed her hand. I will, I promise. That night, I went home and opened my laptop. I pulled up every email, every text, every photo I'd found. And then I started making phone calls. First to Diana's ex-husband. He answered on the third ring, suspicious, until I explained who I was. Then he talked for an hour straight. He told me about Diana's affairs, about the lies, about the way she systematically destroyed his life while playing the victim to everyone who would listen. She's a narcissist, he said, a textbook case. Everything is a game to her. Everyone is either useful or in the way. How did you finally get away from her? I documented everything, every lie, every affair, every manipulation. And when we went to court, I made sure the judge saw exactly who she really was. Did it work? She got nothing in the divorce. No alimony, no assets, nothing. It's the only thing that will stop someone like Diana taking away her power. After we hung up, I called my lawyer. Then I called Ryan's boss. Then I called 3 mutual friends and told them everything. By midnight, I had a plan. And by the end of the week, Diana would wish she'd never sent me that text. The intervention happened on a Saturday. I told my mom I was organizing a small gathering at her house, just a few close friends to lift her spirits. She was feeling well enough to be home for a few days, and she agreed immediately. That sounds lovely, sweetheart. What she didn't know was that I'd invited Diana and Ryan and Diana's ex-husband and my lawyer. They started arriving around 2 p.m. Ryan showed up first, confused but hopeful. Emma, I'm glad you called. I really think we can work through this. Go wait in the living room. Diana arrived 20 minutes later, dressed like she was going to a cocktail party. She saw Ryan through the window and smiled. I should have known. An ambush. Something like it. Go inside. She walked in confidently, like she was in control. Like this was just another game she was going to win. The look on her face when she saw who else was there, that was worth everything. My mom was sitting in her favorite chair. Her ex-husband was standing by the fireplace. Ryan was on the couch, looking increasingly uncomfortable, and my lawyer was in the corner with a folder full of documents. What is this? Diana asked, her voice suddenly shaky. This, I said, is the truth. I gestured for everyone to sit. Diana hesitated, but eventually perched on the edge of the love seat. Ryan looked like he wanted to run. Good, he should be scared. I stood in the center of the room and pulled out my phone. 6 months ago, Diana moved back to town. She told us she was heartbroken, lost, that her husband had destroyed her. I looked at Diana's ex-husband. Would you like to tell us what really happened? He stepped forward. Diana had 7 affairs during our marriage, all of them with married men. When I filed for divorce, she told everyone I was abusive. She told her friends I was controlling. She lied to anyone who would listen. Diana stood up. That's not true. Sit down. My voice came out harder than I'd ever heard it. Diana slowly sat. I have the court documents, I continued. I have the testimonies from 3 of the men she had affairs with. I have text messages, emails, and phone records proving everything. I turned to Ryan. Did you know any of this? He shook his head, looking pale. Of course you didn't, because Diana is very good at playing the victim. She's very good at making people feel sorry for her, making them want to protect her. I looked at my mom. And I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry I have to do this in front of you. My mom's face was unreadable. Keep going. I took a breath. Diana didn't just have an affair with Ryan. She planned it. She'd been talking to him for months before she moved back. She used your cancer, your pain, as the perfect opportunity to get close to us. Diana's face was red now. You don't know what you're talking about. I have your phone records, Diana. Every call, every text. I know exactly when you and Ryan started talking. I know exactly when you decided to move back here. Ryan was staring at Diana now, realization dawning on his face. You said you moved back because you had nowhere else to go. I did have nowhere else. You moved back for him, I interrupted. You targeted my husband. You planned this entire thing. Diana stood up again, her hands clenched into fists. So what? So what if I did? He wanted me. He chose me. No, Ryan said quietly. No, you manipulated me. You told me Emma didn't love me anymore. You told me she was pulling away. You made me think. He stopped, looking at me. God, Emma, I'm so sorry. Save it, I said. You're just as guilty as she is. I turned back to Diana. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave town. Today. You're going to pack your things, and you're going to disappear from our lives. You can't make me do anything. You're right, I can't. But I can send these documents to everyone we know. I can post them online. I can make sure that every single person in this town knows exactly who you are and what you've done. You wouldn't. I stepped closer to her. Try me. We stared at each other for a long moment. Finally, she looked away. And if I leave, if you leave, I'll keep this between us. Your secrets stay secret. Your reputation stays intact. What about Ryan? What about him? Are you going to tell everyone about the affair? That's between me and my husband, soon to be ex-husband. Ryan flinched, but didn't argue. Diana looked at my mom, maybe hoping for some sympathy, some sign that she still had an ally. But my mom just stared at her with cold, hard eyes. I thought you were my friend, my mom said quietly. I trusted you with everything, with my daughter, with my family. I was your friend. Friends don't do this. Predators do. The word hung in the air like a knife. Diana's face crumpled. For the first time since I'd known her, she looked genuinely defeated. I need 3 days to pack. You have 24 hours. Emma, 24 hours, Diana. Or I start making calls. She grabbed her purse and walked toward the door. Before she left, she turned around one last time. You think you've won, but you'll always wonder. You'll always wonder if Ryan really loved you or if he was just settling. Get out. She left without another word. Ryan stood up. Emma, please, let me explain. There's nothing to explain. My lawyer will be in touch about the divorce. I love you. No, you don't. You love the idea of me, the safety, the stability. But you didn't love me enough to stay faithful. It was a mistake. It was a choice, multiple choices, over months. You don't get to call that a mistake. He opened his mouth, then closed it. Then he walked out too. And just like that, they were both gone. I sank into the chair next to my mom, and we sat in silence. Finally, she said, "How do you feel?" "Tired." "That's fair. I'm sorry I brought all this drama into your house." "Are you kidding?" That was the most entertainment I've had in months. I looked at her and she was smiling. Actually smiling. "Too soon, Mom." "Sweetheart, I'm dying. Everything is too soon." We both started laughing. The kind of exhausted, slightly hysterical laughter that comes after everything falls apart. "What are you going to do now?" she asked. "I don't know. File for divorce. Sell the house. Start over, I guess." "You'll be okay." "How do you know?" "Because you're stronger than you think. And because you're my daughter." She squeezed my hand, and I squeezed back. 3 months later, my mom passed away peacefully in her sleep. Ryan didn't come to the funeral. He sent flowers instead. Diana sent nothing. I heard she moved to Arizona. I didn't ask for details. The divorce was finalized 2 weeks after my mom's death. I sold the house and moved into a small apartment downtown. I changed jobs, changed my phone number, changed everything I could. And slowly, very slowly, I started to heal. It's been a year now since that night, since the text that changed everything. I still think about Diana sometimes, about how someone I loved and trusted could hurt me so deliberately. I think about Ryan too, about how easy it was for him to betray me. But mostly, I think about my mom, about her strength, her grace, the way she faced death with more courage than most people face life. She taught me that some people will disappoint you. Some people will use you. Some people will take everything you give and still ask for more. But she also taught me that you don't have to let them win. You fight back, you tell the truth, you protect yourself, and then you move on. I'm dating someone new now, someone kind, someone honest, someone who doesn't make me check his phone or wonder where he is. It's early days, but it feels different. It feels real. Last week, I got a message from an unknown number. "I hope you're happy with yourself. You ruined my life." Diana. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I blocked the number and deleted the message, because some people don't deserve your energy. Some people don't deserve your anger. And some people, like Diana, don't deserve anything from you at all. Not even a response. I'm not the same person I was a year ago. I'm harder, I'm wiser, I'm less trusting, but I'm also free. free from the lies, free from the betrayal, free from people who only see me as something to be used. And that freedom, that's worth more than any friendship or marriage ever was. My mom was right. I am stronger than I thought, and Diana has no idea who she was really messing with.